And I don't want no man in my house eating up all the food either. When I prepare food to last me a couple of days, I have peace knowing that when I go in my refrigerator, the food is in there because there's no man living in my house eating up my food. And I'm talking about a grown, able bodied man that's able to buy groceries, prepare groceries, cook food, and feed himself. Men will weaponize food against women. They will purposely see you cooking and prepping meals and eat it all within a couple of hours just to see you have to go back to the store to get groceries and stand in the kitchen and cook. A lot of these men don't like for women to not be in the kitchen and have a couple of days off. A lot of men don't like to see women resting. They like to see you performing labor, and they will weaponize food against you just to see you do that. Men know exactly what they're doing when they do this. And that's why I don't want no man living in my house. Mm-mm.
So it's this content creator on here, and one, she's a FAMU alumni just like me. Hey. And two, she was talking about how men weaponize food, and I'm here to share my story. So, bitch, I'm gonna just tell y'all about like all the instances where it didn't dawn on me that he was weaponizing food, and it really sucks how I feel like we should just start teaching our girls in middle school what abusive men look like, because they don't just become that. Their moms enable this. Their moms enabled this type of behavior under he's a growing boy. Bitch, I'm growing too. Fuck is you talking about? Fuck is you talking about? Like what? So, first instance with my child's father, I remember living with him, and I bought this pack. I just went grocery shopping that day at Costco's. He gave me the card and everything. And to some people, it's like, girl, he gave you his credit card. Like, it sounds all sweet and dandy when he's paying for shit, but these motherfuckers don't have a nobility behind them or a moral code behind them. It's all for show. It's all performative. He wants the validation of being a good man because look at what I do. Fuck that. So I went to Costco's and I bought a 12, the big pack of pork chops, and I cooked them, right? Because I was like, okay, it's 12 in here. It's 12 in here. I'm going to eat. I'm going to cook them so we can have stuff for the next day. Like, I don't have to cook tomorrow and all that jazz. Y'all know how the spill goes. This man comes home, and out of the 12, right? The 12 fucking pork chops, he ate 6 of them for dinner. Then proceeded to pack away 3 more for lunch tomorrow. So I'm looking at him just destroy this shit, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? And then it's always like they always weaponize how big they are or their height and shit. Your stomach is not as big as your whole body, bitch. You're being gluttonous. That's called gluttony. So when he packed away 3 more, I said, what are you doing? He was like, oh, I'm taking this to lunch tomorrow. And I'm looking like, so I only have 3. So I had to literally split 1 in half so I can eat for tonight and tomorrow. And this motherfucker technically had 9 out of the 12. Just straight up gluttonous. And it's not like we didn't have sights. This motherfucker did not fucking care. And it's all because he was the leader, the provider. This is why women don't want men to provide for them, because they don't provide with the intentions of making sure you're safe. They provide with the intentions of showing you that you're beneath them. That was just the first incident I caught. And I was like, okay, because mind you, at the time I'm trying to make excuses. I'm like, maybe he didn't fucking eat at work today because it was so busy. And it was just bad, because I'm like, I know this motherfucker didn't hate me that much to fucking starve me. Like, are you fucking mad? So the second occurrence came when I was a stay-at-home mom. He asked me to be a stay-at-home mom. Let me phrase that again. He asked me to be a stay-at-home mom. And he proceeds like, I'm cooking again. I already made the meal. I'm ready to eat. Like, the food is ready. Let's eat. He proceeds to take the meat that we have in the freezer to keep us going for another week. He proceeds to cook that because it's like, oh, I want to eat this. I want this tonight. And then he's weaponizing the fact that I said, you don't cook, you come home and do nothing, as if like you don't pull your weight around the house. So he maliciously complied to what I asked him to do by cooking more food than what was fucking needed that night. So you waste food because you're upset that I told you you don't cook enough. So you decide to cook something else after I already cooked. Just stupidity. Stupidity. But he's told his sisters that, oh, she's mad that I cooked dinner. Tell the whole fucking story. You want to be victim? I'm mad that you're wasting the food that we need to hold us over to the next time you get paid. You're just wasting food. The third time, it was snacks. It was Oreos. There was no food in the house, and he said he was going to come back on his lunch break to like bring me the card so I can go grocery shopping. I come home, I get in the shower, I come home, I see him eat the last of my Oreos. And I told him, I said, why did you eat all my snacks? He was like, oh, I left you some, SOME, 4. I left you 4 Oreos. Y'all, it was a whole roll of Oreos left in there, and he left me 4. And he was laughing about it. The final straw, where I mentally pulled away, and then I started plotting. I ain't even gonna hold you. I did get my get back. He doesn't know what I did, and I'm not gonna reveal what I did, but it was done. But the last straw was when my family, one of the few times, because again, I'm gonna explain myself on my YouTube channel. There's one of the few times my family on my dad's side reached out to me to like help me or give me some type of community, because they knew something was happening. They just didn't know, because I didn't grow up with that side, but they can feel my energy when I would come around them. So they invited me to a barbecue. I call him and I ask him, do you want a plate from this barbecue? Because I'm not cooking anything. He says, no, I don't want a plate. I get my food, I come home. I go to sleep for the night because I already ate there. I was going to eat that plate tomorrow. He comes home, sleeps. And I think what pissed me off this time, it was the fact that he schemed. You plotted on doing that, and you knew you was going to do that. So he wakes up. I hear the microwave going off, but I'm like, I know he's not heating up my food. And then something just told me to get up, because usually pattern recognition, when he gets up on the weekends or he's not going to work, he comes back in the room and eats with me in the bed. Like he'll eat right next to me. Today he goes into the living room, and by the time I get up and come out, this man done scarfed down my whole meal from my family's barbecue. And he's gonna say, oh, I thought you got it for me anyway. I thought this was for me. He knew it wasn't for him. And the shit that pissed me off with his sisters is, I don't give a fuck if that's y'all brother. Y'all gotta wake the fuck up. Just because he's not abusing you like that doesn't mean other women that like him, that see him as an intimate partner, should tolerate his abuse. And y'all shouldn't invalidate or dismiss us because y'all, for some reason, whatever it is, you don't want to stand up to him. You feel like you're being disloyal to your family if you hold him accountable for how he treats women. I don't know. I don't really be having empathy for the sisters sometimes, because it's like, the proof be right there. Y'all can only blame different girls so long. Who is the common denominator? Your brother. So yeah, I'm good off of men, because I refuse to have a man, especially with me being a single mom. You will not eat my child's snacks. Boy, I will beat the shit out you. And then put my fucking dog on you. Like, stop fucking playing with me. Like, no. Fuck no. I will, and mind you, I don't even have a dog, but my neighbor does. I'll use her fucking dog. But bitch, these men out here are really fucking sick. And for them to do that to people that love them, this is why they don't have love. So anytime you see a man playing the victim of like, people just did me dirty, and bro, it's because he is hiding the fact that he is suffering from the consequences of his actions.
I am so glad we're talking about men weaponizing food in household. And this is one of the main reasons I'm so glad I will never have to have a man in my house. Because men feel entitled to the food of the house and will exhibit a level of control over it that can become so extreme in nature that even other people within the household will starve at the expense of men having more food in the house. For example, everybody may get 2 pieces of chicken, but suddenly your father or your older brother is getting 4 pieces each. And these people might not even eat all this food, or they force themselves to eat all this food in an effort to exert some type of dominance or control over the food source in all. And if ever you raise your voice to say, hey, some of us also need to eat, suddenly the providing is thrown back in your face. And this man might not have even bought this food. Typically, it's the women of the household buying the groceries. And in the modern day and age, it's also their money being used to do it. But especially if you're a child speaking up to, say, an older male relative, they will use not only their added years as justification, but also the fact that they may be a growing boy or a grown man. And even the women of the house may be told to limit what they're eating or be given these rude notions whenever they're making a plate, insinuating that they should have less food on theirs. And this, of course, comes at the expense of sacrificing the less food for others to have more food on the basis of sex within one family unit's household. And it goes beyond even just at the dinner table. Even if you bring food home for yourself, these same men will eat your food. They know it's yours. I remember having to leave labels on my food. I remember having to hide food just so the men of the household wouldn't use food as a resource by which to further oppress you, especially if that was something normalized in the household. And they will eat things you spent your hard earned money for, and they'll be like, I'll pay you back though. But it still doesn't replace the labor of you having to go and get, and sometimes even food you've cooked for yourself, they will eat. And this is why it's important to teach your sons how to cook for themselves so they don't automatically become a nuisance and a pest wherever they go, and also become a heightened abuser because of how they view food, especially through the lens of the fact that they cannot prepare their own. Living amongst men, you really get to see how they are and their selfishness and what aspects of life will bring it up. It's important to make sure you have a selfless partner, especially when that partner is a man, especially if you are trying to raise a family with him, because he will starve you and your children out as long as it means his belly is full.
As someone who, my mother is no longer here, I have so many instances where I wish that I could apologize to her for the shit she endured to be a good mother to us. Hold on, let me turn this shower off. Hold on. There are so many instances where I just want to be like, my God. And today's instance comes from there's a discourse happening on TikTok right now about, when women, when girlfriends, when moms, when wives, when they cook and people eat up all the shit, and how that's like there's layers of like abusive tactics involved. There's a lack of consideration. It's many layers connected with it. And I just remember being a young person. I think my mom would make some good shit. You know what I mean? Like, you hungry and then you eating, and then we get cussed out because there wasn't no leftovers. You know what I'm saying? And you just think they being mean. And I just didn't realize what it took to financially feed a family. You don't realize that, and what my parents were enduring. For my mom to be a stay-at-home wife and my dad to be the sole provider of our home. And then 2, the labor it takes to feed a family of, at this time we were a family of 5. Andrea came, later for us. But what it takes to feed a family of 5 every day. And when we walked in from school at 3-something, the dinner was, you could smell my mom was cooking from around the corner. We had a brick chimney above the house. So especially like in the fall and the winter time in Nebraska, when the smoke was coming up out of there, I knew Miss Colleen was in them people's kitchen. It was about to go down. But yeah, I'm gonna have to sit with this. I'm gonna have to sit with this. And this is some of the stuff where I just be like, the privilege of being someone identified as male at birth, and then like the duality of the life you live, and you just realizing the expectations that weren't put on your body, and then you just kind of, and at the same time, in this body, people wanting to convince me that those expectations should feel affirming to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes would be like, well, you should want to cook for your man, this and the third. I'm just like, but who feeds, but who's been feeding you, nigga? You gotta lift up your stomach for me to get to the dick. You been eating something. You know what I'm saying?